Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Tartar Sauce. There's nothing on the table here. Don't look for any fish. No,
I thought I was having breakfast and lunch.
Well, hey, next time. Okay. Next time, see. We're here at the Peoria Journal-Star in Peoria, Illinois. And with me, and my great pleasure to have Renee Charles, spokeswoman, I'll say that, but we can give you your formal title, communication empress at
like
Bradley University. Of course, Renee, we've seen you in many roles here in Peoria. I'm going to get to that at the end because I'm going to ask you, I'll give you a preview, with your knowledge, having worked at the Chamber, having been in media, having now representing Bradley, what can Peoria do to move itself forward? But anyway, we'll save on that one.
Put that in the back of my mind.
Yeah. I just throw that out. But we'll start with Bradley University, as anyone in Peoria knows, is a big entity, and big day is coming tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's move-in day. So actually, a lot of our students are already here.
Okay.
But all of our residence halls are open starting tomorrow. So big day. So
parents come with SUVs loaded with things for the students.
Man, they have some really nice things. When we were moving in, it was you got little box here and little box there. They're coming in with flat screen TVs and all kinds of things.
Well, one of the things I've enjoyed at the and I always forget it, but the Alumni Hall. What's the name of it?
Hayden Clark Alumni Center.
Thank you, Hayden Clark Alumni Center. They have that wonderful little display of different dorm rooms.
The residence halls through the years.
I don't want to tell you where mine winds up. It's way in the back.
But they have the little computers when people start having computers in their rooms and all kinds of things.
Oh, my God. It's so funny looking at that and then jumping into today.
Yeah, it's changed.
Now, Bradley had a huge class last year, record class.
We did. It was the second largest with 1265, the second largest we had.
How does this year compare?
Purposefully, we wanted a smaller class coming in, but we're looking still around 1080 to 1120 is kind of our sweet spot, and we're going to be right in there. We won't have the specific numbers until the third week of class.
Right. But that means for those of you who are in the Peoria area listening or watching, you might, if you don't have business in the Maine and University Bradley corridor, you might want to avoid it at least for a portion of the Saturday because those streets are going to be closed there, right?
There will be several streets that will be closed, rerouting traffic. The biggest congestion area we see is usually from I-74 University all the way up to campus.
Right, where people coming off.
Right. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to come up the back way. It's not going to help you because there are streets closed off. For this particular reason, we have a set flow of traffic so that there's one way in and one way out. So don't try to sneak up the back way and think, I'm going to get my son or daughter in there the easy way.
You guys have done this before.
We've done this before, and it's really smooth. We've had parents tell us that Bradley's move-in is better than any of their other children, any other schools they've gone to, because all of our Greeks, all of our athletes who are available, other organizations, they all come and help to move.
Right.
So really, you pull up to the residence hall, you open the door, give them a card that tells them what room you're in, they take the stuff from there.
Wow.
You and your child have the time. You don't even have to move the box. We've got the students who are there to help and volunteer, and that gets you in, gets you out, and you move your car, go park it elsewhere, and then come back and get your kids settled in.
I'm just flashing back to the many years ago when I arrived at Bradley from the east, and I had a duffel bag, and you went at Sisson Hall was where I was at, and of course Sisson Hall's still there, but now it's at offices and things, and it's so different. But I do remember that was a period when there were a lot of kids from the east on our floor, on the second floor of Sisson, New York, New Jersey.
Oh yeah,
there was a lot there, and I was from Massachusetts, so there were kids from all over. And now let's jump to another thing. We were talking about this immigration. Bradley has had a great ability to draw people from overseas. Engineering and other schools are very, hot spots to come to. How has the climate on the immigration thing changed things?
Well, it definitely has impacted us, more so from the graduate school level than the undergraduate. We have a very diverse undergraduate class coming in, probably the second most ethnically diverse class that we've seen.
Good.
So we do still have a lot of diversity coming in, but you're absolutely right. The culture in the United States is tumultuous, and especially for those coming in from out of the country. So we definitely feel it. Our graduate school enrollment is feeling that pinch.
Right.
India is one of the countries that we really pull a lot of students from. We've had great success there, and it's definitely down. The news, things that happen here in the States definitely impacts the thought process. We've had representatives, our graduate dean just talked about this, representatives from India have said that there are many, many, many fewer people who are interested in coming to the U.S., not just Bradley, but to the U.S. in general, because of the climate that we're in.
Wary of the mood.
What's going to happen with immigration? What's going to happen with their visas? Are they going to go home for a break and not be able to come back? Are they going to be here for a year, then something changes, and they're going to be sent back? So there are a lot of questions for them, and they're just looking at other places to go as opposed to coming here because of that uncertainty. And we just recently talked about this at our end of summer assembly. Florida, Central Missouri, schools like Harvard, they're all dealing with it. It's not just Bradley. We're all feeling that because of that uncertainty.
And uncertainty, and I would add, and this is my own thought here, but the welcoming. There's a question of, am I welcome here?
Yeah, is this going to be a welcome
this seems to be
environment for me?
Yeah, and I can well understand that. So with a new season at Bradley, there's many things to do. What kind of is your routine as the, and you've been there how many years?
It's been 5 years now.
5 years.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
time flies when you're having fun.
I tell you, 5 years. So what kind of, from a communication standpoint, what are you doing in those first few weeks?
Well, obviously Saturday is the huge day, but then for the rest of the week, the weekend and the beginning of the week, we have tons of welcome week activities.
Right.
It's a chance for us to really make these students feel comfortable, get them acclimated to being a part of campus.
Maybe they've never been away from home before.
Many of them haven't. Get them used to kind of being on their own, settle them down a little bit, because some of them haven't been on their own, and it's, whoa, the bright-eyed, what do I do now? But we have events to show them. So we have a Be United, which is kind of a pep rally. And they learn the alma mater, they learn the fight song, they learn all the different things about Bradley.
Kind of traditions, things.
Yeah. And then we also have the freshman convocation, which happens the night before classes begin, which is a more serious tone. This is why you're here. This is what Bradley's about. Take this opportunity to grow and to learn and to experience things. And then we also have the activities fair, which goes on. We have the block party. We have the Taste of Bradley. They have meetings with their advisors, floor meetings. So all of these things to get them situated so mom and dad don't have to worry. Their kids are being taken care of, and we're getting them acclimated and ready for school.
I'm familiar with this because you've done it in the past. The Taste of Bradley, what is that?
So think of the Taste of Peoria on a smaller scale.
Okay.
And we have a couple dozen local eateries.
Pizza is no doubt.
Pizza's always there, yeah. But my favorite part of it is just walking around and trying a couple of new things. You get some ice cream, get a kebab from Alexander's, get a taste of pizza from here. But you can get
and that's not open to the public, right?
It is.
It is open to the public.
Absolutely. It's on Sunday. I believe it starts at 5 o'clock, and it's along the Founders Circle in the Olin Quad.
Oh, so it's outside.
Yeah, come on down.
Yeah. Okay.
And you buy the tickets, and then go to each stand.
Like Taste of Peoria.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's fascinating because, I think that whole acclimation process with any school, but when you're here, some of us stand off to the side and just, here they are again. Here come the students.
Yeah.
But it's always an adventure for them because it's the first time.
And to see their faces is just, they come in and they look around. This is my new home. This is where I'm could possibly meet my lifelong partner. This is where I'm going to make some of my best friends. This is
where I find my career.
This is what's going to set you up for the next phase of your life.
Right.
It's going to help you grow into that young adult.
Some are more serious about that than others.
Yes.
And there's the rub. Some would think, I'll get to that later, but we understand.
But we've got some amazing students, and when you look at the ACT and SAT test scores, they're coming in, their class rankings. When you look at that academic profile, these kids are strong, really strong learners, and they are coming here for that quality education. They know what they want to do. And we're just really putting them on the path to that
Well,
success.
let's get a plug in right now for interns for the Journal-Star, because we've had great luck with folks over there, because I'm sure that it's the internship process will come along later. One of the stories we've been talking about with you that's been going on kind of over the year, the radio station, the public radio, WCBU. I'll set it up for the folks, but you can explain it better than I can. They've been there on the campus since 1970. They're in Jobst Hall, have been for a while, but Jobst Hall is coming down.
That's right.
And of course, we know why. Or if you don't know why, you can explain why. But what's going to happen with Bradley Station?
So we're building a new building,
Right.
$100 million, 270,000 square foot business and engineering complex. Our Caterpillar College of Engineering and Technology and the Foster College of Business are going to be housed in one building now. And it is a top-notch, incredible facility, very modern, that's going to give us a chance to really converge our learning environment. So business and engineering students will be working across colleges, working together to give them a more well-rounded education.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. It's the way we're going in careers today. So with that said, Jobst Hall will be coming down next year. Jobst Hall is where the station is located. With all the research and everything that we've done, it's going to cost us more than $700,000 to move the station to another location, even on campus. It's not feasible economically for us to do that. So we're looking at different opportunities, new ways that we can provide this product. And the one thing that comes to mind is merging or collaborating with another station. So we're looking at different opportunities. Who can we collaborate with to create even maybe a larger market, more opportunities for our listeners, but still keep public radio in Peoria.
Still be WCBU 89.9 and all that.
But the product of it would be working with another public station. So think of whether it's Bloomington or Champaign or anywhere else, but creating that larger market, synergizing the product, and finding ways to grow the market, grow the product, grow the news, and grow the opportunities for us.
And I know
but
that
public radio will still be in Peoria. That is our intent.
And I know the process is still underway, so we don't know yet, who the collaborator will be. But I know two that we've talked about and had in the paper would be GLT out of Bloomington, which is already broadcast in this area, and WTVP, Channel 47, the public TV station, which with Moss Bresnahan is also running the Champaign or U of I conglomerate of stations, where there's two radio stations down there and TV. So there's some symmetry or.
Yeah, and when you look at those markets, like you said, Bloomington's already. We kind of cross markets anyway. So would that be the right answer? We don't know which one's going to be the best fit for us. But yes, that's what we're looking at, is finding another broadcast outlet that we can work with in partnership and, again, provide local news, provide the coverage, provide that public radio outlet, because that really does enhance a community. We do not want that to go away.
And one of the things that's come out, and I think was a cause of concern that we heard from people, was the fact that the station's employment at CBU got down to 5 full-time people for this year. You got one person, bless her heart, Tanya Kuntz, who's in the newsroom. I know there's part-time there too, but what's the story behind that? I mean, why has Bradley let that get down so low?
Well, and I can't go into specifics about that, but the change in landscape of radio in general.
Media.
Is I mean, you feel it here too. I mean, that's something that has definitely played a role in it. And then also when we're looking at these changes that are inevitable for public radio, look at other states and how they've merged and created consortiums of radio systems.
Sure.
So all of those things are on the table when we look at these changes that are coming are inevitable. So we want to make sure we know what we're doing before we bring more people in staff-wise. So it's kind of a catch-22 of we know these changes are coming, and we've got to deal with them.
We've had a couple of calls here, one email and several calls of concern. I think from faithful WCBU listeners, you've probably had some correspondence too, they're worried about the station might go away.
And right, the station is not going away. That is not our intent. Our intent is to find another broadcast outlet that we can partner with and continue providing public radio services for the Peoria market.
The timetable on this for the...
Well, the building's coming down next year, so we're hoping to... there's no deadline set. But we'll take in proposals and be discussing it probably through the end of the year. So
when you say take in proposals, we've mentioned a couple of obvious ones that are already radio stations. What if somebody... I mean, is it open? And then I'm being totally, sort of... Just sort of off the top of my head here. But if you had somebody come in and say, hey, what about this? I'll put together, I mean, they're free to do that. In.
Tell us about it.
Because I'm thinking, and one of the thoughts I had was with CBU, and I talk about radio as a fan, not as any kind of, this is the closest I get to radio. We do these podcasts here, and that's fun. But you've done radio. So, you've done radio, you've done TV, all that. But I'm thinking, public radio could be more than just NPR.
Absolutely.
And I just think sometimes that there's things there. We'll let the public.
And this is a chance for us now to think that way. Let's think out of the box. Let's think globally. Think creatively. What is it that we can do to make it more viable, more financially stable, more
engaging?
Yeah. What can we do? This is a great opportunity for us to kind of rebuild what we want it to be, we being listeners and the community. And I guess it really doesn't matter, I'll say this, but maybe somebody would counter this, but it really doesn't matter where the station is located, because you can still get Bradley input. You can still get Bradley students going to, whether it's down at Channel 47 or some other point somewhere in the town. Somewhere in town, somewhere on campus, somewhere else. The bottom line is public radio is an asset to the community. Bradley, our administrators, we all recognize that. We want to find the right partner to continue providing those services and potentially expand them and create something even better. Great. Now I'm going to get you the thing I mentioned to you about Peoria, because we'll just put you on the spot here a little bit, Renee, because you were here. You did TV, I think, in several markets, TV anchoring. You came back. That's when I remember you doing the Chamber for, what, 5 years? Heartland Partnership, the Chamber of Commerce, that whole group. Yeah, the Heartland Partnership. So you've been around Peoria, seen it. You're aging me, Steve. Well, I don't want to do that. Believe me, I don't want to do that, because I go way back before you do. But it's a case where this town. You've been encouraging people to do this, do that. Okay, we're now here, and obviously your focus is Bradley now. But when you look at the whole area, we've had this Caterpillar story, where the headquarters thing. We bring that up quite often, but now it's being told with the medical complex. If you were back in the chamber slot, what's your approach to Peoria at this point? Branding of a community branding of anything starts from the inside out. When you're marketing a community, when you're marketing an organization, when you're trying to get people to pay attention, it has to start from the inside out. You've got to have that word of mouth. You've got to have your internal cheerleaders. You have to have pride from the inside. We need our community. Yes, there are things that are happening. Yes, Caterpillar's headquarters have moved. Maybe it's not as bright as some people want it to be, but it is better here. You knew I was going to bring that up. But we have to really... I remember that. Yeah, we have to have that internal pride to get other people to want to come here. If you look around, there are a lot of folks who were born and raised here, left, and they came back. They came back and said, you know what? I wanted to raise my family in a smaller, close-knit community. I wanted to have those opportunities of being able to get from A to B in 15 minutes instead of sitting in traffic for an hour and a half. I wanted to be able to go somewhere where I know my neighbor, but yet still have cultural opportunities, still have things that you can do, and be a few hours to going to the big city. It is a community that has a lot to offer, but we have to recognize that internally first. Right. So I guess my challenge would be to look around and see that we do have great things going on here. Right. Yes, we've got some fiscal issues. Yes, we've got problems just like every other community has. But we've got a lot of good things going on. Right. So let's look internally first and get a community that is here to recognize the positive things that we do have, because that will help us to tell the story to those who want to come into our community to do business. And in order to get them here, we have to have that positive brand image.
You know, that's a good point, because I think, you know, it's so easy to be critical. I mean, we in a newsroom here, we're that's a way of life. You know,
well, when you're in the newsroom, you see that.
Right.
You see the negativity on a daily basis.
And obviously, it's bad news that makes news, and so we know that. And of course, you've got a murder or a traffic accident or whatever it is. People want to know about that. But you're right. I mean, I look at Peoria as sort of as somebody who came here from somewhere else, and what I've noticed is it lacks confidence in itself.
Absolutely.
Many people, not everybody.
Internal pride. We've got to have that so that we can showcase what we do offer to the rest of the world.
Yeah, because I mean, when you tell somebody, "Oh, I came from Boston," or "I came from here," and they'll kind of scrunch up their face and go, "Well, what are you doing here?" Yeah. You know, like, why would you come here? And it's almost like, well, you know, actually, I mean, I've been here a long time and I've enjoyed here. And actually, my mother, who's will be 91 this year and is in New Hampshire, we just visited her. I remember her telling me, you know, and I didn't prompt her. She goes, you know, I like Peoria. Now she's come here only a few times, but I think at first, you know, the East Coast bias or whatever you want to call it, which I've never accepted because I grew up there. But, you know, the size, as you said, is very comfortable. And, of course, it all depends, I guess, on your own individual. If you've lost your job or something,
and I'm
it's
not
a different thing.
Pollyanna about it. I'm not looking through rose-colored glasses. We have our issues.
Right.
And maybe in some arenas we have more issues than other communities. But, again, if you were to, I've lived several other places and I've come back. And there is something about this community that is welcoming. It is inviting. There are opportunities, and perhaps we need to expand on those opportunities. Perhaps we need to be able to tell our story better. But we do have things here that are really great.
You make a good point, and it almost I didn't set this up, but it kind of comes back to Bradley, because I think one of the benefits of being a Bradley student in Peoria is the opportunity. Yeah, you can certainly, there are things that you just address them. You're setting up, and the kids can go and do this. But if they venture off campus at whatever point that comes to them, they can have an impact in Peoria. They can go down to the theater or local theater or whatever their interest is. Maybe they want to do a business thing. Peoria's crying out for that kind of help.
Bradley has an economic impact of $314 million per year. That's our students, that's our faculty, that's our staff, that's our investing.
And you're not going anywhere. I heard Gary say that.
We
Gary
are not
Roberts,
going
the
anywhere.
president.
We are in Peoria. It was founded in Peoria. But we have an economic impact on the community. Every time our students go out to a restaurant, that's $1 turning over in this local economy. And I believe the number is every $1 spent turns over 7 times in a local economy. So when you look at that, that's a great impact. And yes, they may stick around the campus area, but when they travel down to the riverfront, when they go shopping, when they go to a local restaurant, they're making an impact. And they want to make that impact because they want to get out and enjoy what the community has to offer. So having that open door of Peoria, invite Bradley students, faculty, and staff to get involved in your business, to come to your business, to come to your organization. Invite them to do that. And then you take the opportunity to come to campus. Get involved with us. Come to the different lectures that we offer. Come to the plays and the theater and the musicals and the things that we put on campus. Come to the sporting events. Take an active role in being a part of Bradley. And then also open your doors to ask for Bradley to take an active role in you.
I know I had a story last spring where Bradley students came up with ideas for the city of Peoria, potholes, and just it was a wide variety of things. I can't remember them all now, but there was a room full of ideas here, and you just went around, and the kids had done displays, and obviously some were more likely to succeed than others, but just the fact that they addressed that, and you saw, I mean, you can be very jaded after a while when you get older like me. You can be, oh, well, I've done that, I've seen that, that's not going to work.
Never worked before.
But I think the beauty of youth and the energy they bring.
Fresh eyes.
Yeah, it's like hey, I didn't know there wasn't a no in this thing. You know, I'm just going to do it. And if you tell me no, then I understand, but I'm still going to do it. Yeah. You know, so it's. I think that is what you know. That's why we. That's what children, I think, bring to the older folks. You know, well, they're not just the young ones.
A different type of thought leader. You know, we encourage them to put their ideas into practice. Don't just talk about them, do it. And that's what we really encourage our students with experiential learning. Get out there and get hands-on, get a feel for what you're doing. Don't just sit back and only do it in the classroom. Get out there, get your hands dirty, learn what it's like to actually do it. Internships, co-ops, job shadowing, all of those types of things, from global trips and international learning to going just in your own backyard to do something. But get out there and share your ideas, talk about it, and don't be afraid to go for it.
And now, if I'm not mistaken, a number of students come from the Chicago area. Right, that's been historic.
I want to say it's about 55% of our incoming class is typically
Chicago
from
land, or whatever they want to call it. And I think, you know, the lesson there is, and I think many of these kids, students, would say, well, you know, they're in a little more of a big city environment, even if they live in the suburbs. When they come to Peoria, and I'm just being, just supposing here, they might be, and maybe they're right, you know, sort of, well, it's a smaller town, you know, it's sort of not up to my speed. And I think...
slower paced than
slower paced, you know, this, I know when I came out here, and I was, you know, not addressed at all, and I don't think I'd been further west of Ohio. It struck me odd that in the news, local news, there were these fertilizer commercials. You know, I'm thinking, what's with these farm things? Well, you know, that's how stupid I was, because you didn't realize that right around the little hilltop were cornfields and soybean fields.
Something else out there.
Yeah. You know, you flew over them. You probably didn't notice it, but you know, there they are. So you know, the recognition of that. But the one thing I think is so unique to Peoria and communities like Peoria is those students that want to do something and beyond the books and you know, all that they came to do. There's a community crying out for their help.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
and not because we're you know sort of frantically helpless, but because the opportunity is there.
Well, we have something every month, once a month on Saturday is Service on Saturday. We have 1,000 students that go out and volunteer at various places around the community.
Fraternities, sororities, and
anything, everything. We have the Berger Center for Leadership on campus, and they take students out one Saturday a month, and they spend 3 or 4 hours. But then we also have classes that will go out and learn about the community, get involved, work on a project for something in the community. There's an organization that needs a new website. One of our classes that teaches website design will work with them on what can my students do to make that better for you? How can we help you? So they get out into the community. Individual classes do, organizations do. Our fraternities and sororities all have philanthropies. Their philanthropies, they work with different organizations, whether it's the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts or Southside Mission, things like that. They have those philanthropies they work with constantly. And you don't see that all the time.
No.
You know, our students put in thousands and thousands of volunteer hours every semester to make a difference. That's this generation of students, that's something that's front and center of their mind, making a difference. And the students of Bradley are no different. They want to be out in the community doing something to make a change.
And they move in tomorrow,
and
Saturday.
They do. They're back.
Yeah. So watch out, Maine University fans, because Lord knows we hear enough about that corner.
Oh, I know.
But you know, I live in the uplands, so I'm right there. But it's a love-hate thing, because while you know no one likes to sit in traffic, especially in Peoria where we're not used to doing that, and that intersection you will do that sometimes. But I have to tell you, walking diagonally across that, or just being able to encourage pedestrian traffic, that's a good thing. So,
well, and it's energetic too. Now the students are back, and they're going to be all over the place. Just a new energy of people out and about in the neighborhood. It's.
We got to get some restaurants into that campus town. There's a couple of closed now. The Little Raven and the sushi place. Yeah. So we have to get those students on that. We need some more eating places.
There you go.
All right. Well, we've been talking with Renee Charles, who heads up the communications over at Bradley University, and we're here to tell you that the students are back. So,
They're back.
Renee, thanks so much. We'll stay in touch, and thanks to Matt Dayhoff, who gets this whole thing on the air and makes it possible for you to hear it and see it. So we'll see you next time on Tartar Sauce. Thank you.